Hello and welcome to Mastering in the Box. In today's video we're going to break down a recent mastering session that I've done for a client, which is in the breakbeat style. Hello and welcome to Mastering in the Box. I'm your host Smudge, and in today's video we're going to break down a recent master that I did for a client that is in the breakbeat style. But before we get into the content of today's video, if you want to know more about digital mastering, then make sure you hit that subscribe button below and make sure you tick that bell and select all to receive notifications on all of our videos moving forward. And if you're interested in finding out more about one-to-one coaching with myself, or if you want to have your tracks critiqued by me, then watch through to the end of the video and I'll share further details of where you can find out details for my critiquing and one-to-one coaching sessions. Let's get into the door. So the song we're featuring in this week's video is a song called How Many of You Suckers by the client of mine called Stuart. Really top bloke, great musician, and these were songs that were recorded back in the late 90s, early 2000s. They were recorded to DAT and minidisc, and his musical career went on a bit of a hiatus due to family commitments, etc. And he's really got the bug again to start getting back into music, and we're trying to bring these tracks, say, from the late 90s, early 2000s into life. So we've got the tracks converted from DATs and minidiscs into WAV format, and we've imported them into Reaper for the mastering session. All I've done to the track, or this particular track, is just to normalise the audio. So one of the things that I sometimes do is to normalise the audio before I start doing any processing. And for those of you that don't know what normalising the audio is, it is moving the peak level up towards the digital ceiling, so it's raising the overall volume of the track without applying compression, because this is one of the things I was very cautious of. Because these were recorded to DATs, they were 16-bit files, 44:1, so I just really wanted to be kind of a little bit cautious of the headroom, so I thought just to give some more overall volume to the track I'd normalise it. So this track has been normalised. The rest of the processing is bypassed, so let's take a brief listen.
None of you sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you sucker who? You suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers?
Okay, so it's a great sounding track, really bright and vibrant. I like the tones, just got a great vibe to it. But one of the things is actually just I wanted to do is kind of give it some more oomph, give it some more overall character. One of the things I've really got into the habit of doing at the moment, though, is just really starting to master into the limiter. So rather than limiting last, I use the limiter first, get some overall volume to the track, and get it in the rough ballpark figure for loudness, as to where I feel it should be from a loudness perspective. With these particular tracks, the client was very clear that he wanted to have these to compete with tracks on Beatport. And I did some research on Beatport, and a lot of the tracks there, they range from, say, -8 LUFS to -12 LUFS. So it's really trying to get it into that kind of ballpark figure. And we've kind of done that first, really kind of mastering into the limiter. So if we engage the limiter here, I've got the typical ceiling of the -1, and I've got a 3.7 dB boost to kind of just say boost some volume into the limiter. So let's take a listen.
You suckers out there think that you can handle this. None of you sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this?
So we're getting it right in a good sweet spot. Momentary loudness max around about -10, and he integrated us. Of course, we need to play it all the way through to get a more accurate reading. But we're looking around about, say, between -10, -12. On here it reads -11.3. So it's got us in a good ballpark figure just by doing that short limiting move. So now I've got the ballpark loudness by using the limiter. The next stage was to go into a compressor. And let's say, although the limiter was given a little bit of gain reduction, I don't like doing too much gain reduction with the limiter because it is hard, it is quite aggressive, and if I just want some more, sometimes I just want to give a bit more body to the track with some, I don't like using the term glue because I do think it's one of those kind of, yeah, it's one of those vogue words, one of those kind of fashionable words to use, that bus glue. But it's just kind of, it kind of gives a bit more body. I much more prefer to use the word body to the track by, using some mastering compression. I've used it quite sparsely here. I love a ratio around 1.6 to 1. This particular plugin is the Equalization. It's the Alpha compressor by Plugin Alliance, and this is my go-to mastering compressor. Ratio 1.6 to 1, and then I've got a relatively quick attack, slow release, and I've just brought the threshold down to taste just to get a little bit of gain reduction. It's in normal mode, it's not in MS mode, so we're not doing any mid-side processing. I've got just a little smidgen here, just a soft clipping. So that's just going to help really even out some of the dynamics. And we've just got a little bit of makeup gain here, just to kind of top up some of that gain reduction that we've got from the actual compression mix on 100%. So let's take a listen to this without and then with the compression, and just try and really kind of focus on what the compressor is doing.
How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many?
A little hint here. If you listen to the kick, it kind of really gives some body and weight to the kick. So once again, let's play it without. I'll engage it and really listen out for the kick.
How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do. How many of you suckers out there think that you can handle this? None of you. Sucker who? I show what the sucker do.
So it's really given that low-end warmth and definition to the track, which I really like. So that was the first stage with the mastering compressor, 1.6 to 1 ratio, relatively fast attack, relatively slow release, threshold to taste, get a couple of dBs, about between 1 and 2 dBs worth of gain reduction. And then we've got, I'd say, a little bit of makeup gain and the mix on 100. So next up, I wanted to apply some EQ, some gentle EQ, and for this particular song I chose the T-Rex Equal by IK Multimedia, and this is one of my favourite EQs. And it's just a few little things I wanted to do, so a little bit of a low end boost, and it's just 3 cuts, gentle cuts, all around about 1 dB each. There's one at around 245, one at 1K, and the other around 2K, and they're just really gentle. Let's take a bit of a listen to the track, let's bypass, keep the plugin in bypass, we'll engage it, and then we'll break down the EQs, kind of give you some of the thought processes behind it. So really with this EQ, it's just cleaning things up. I mean, we start with a low shelf, and the low shelf is coming in, so it's quite low, 61 Hertz, and it's just 1.1 dB gain. And it's just giving some more body and weight to the low end. But the rest of the EQ moves are really just kind of just trying to clean things up. Didn't need too much. But once again, it's just a little dip here. And we've got a dip of minus 1.1 dB at 245 Hertz. And one of the things that this is really going to do is to start give us some more clarity in that low end. So if I quickly bypass 4 and 5, and we'll just have a quick listen with 1 and 2. What we've done is we've, as I say, given a slight low end boost. We've taken a bit out of 245 Hertz. Now what that's going to do is, by using that slight gain reduction on 245, it's going to take away some of that mud, but it's really going to emphasise some low end, some more body. So let's take a listen. We'll disengage that first. Let's play a bit, let's engage it, let's do a before and after. So it's nice and subtle, but so just doing those two moves, it's really giving some more body and weight to that low end, which is really, really nice. And then the next two moves, it's just more cleaning up once again. So we've got an EQ cut here. The first one's at 1K, and it's once again, it's a minus 1.1 dB, relatively wide Q, and it's just taking out some of those more harsh frequencies. I noticed in this with the, say, the high mids, it was at little places it was getting a little bit kind of brittle, so it's got a slight cut there at 1K and another one at 2.01. Once again, they're just over 1 dB, wide Qs. Let's take another listen here as a quick before and after. So that's it with the EQ. It's really more just giving a little bit more body and weight, and then just cleaning up certain areas just to kind of give the track some more definition. Next up, I went for a little bit of multiband compression, and for this particular example I used the Aria X Comp. I really like this plugin. A lot of people say they don't like it, they don't like the Reaper stop multiband compressor. I really like it, and this is available for anyone for free. So if anyone doesn't have a multiband compressor and they want to get one, you can get this through the Reaper.fm website, and it is under Rea Plugs, and you can get a copy of this in the Rea Plugs plugin download for free. So all I've done here, bands 1, 2 and 3 are all bypassed, and band 4 is from 5K and above. And I'm using this very much as almost like a de-esser, because I just wanted to tame some of that harshness. So 2:1 ratio, we've got, say, the threshold's brought down just to get a little bit of gain reduction, just to tame it somewhat. Relatively fast tap, relatively quick release on this one as well. And let's just take a listen through, and so once again, it's just taming that real high end, just to take away some of that harshness. So let's take a listen. So once again, it's just cleaning things up here. It's just taming a little bit those highs, and just taking away some of that harshness, some of that brittleness from the top end, which is going to give it more overall balance when it comes to the final master. And the last plugin in the chain is just another mastering compressor. And the reason I do this is I like to compress in stages. I don't like to really stress one plugin. So if you start to really push the compression in with one particular plugin, you'll find that you really start to stress the plugin, and it starts to sound unnatural. It really starts to sound squashed. And like I say, just if you do it in stages, it just sounds more natural. It's less forced, and you get a much better overall sound. So I've gone for the TDR Kotelnikov, and the reason I've gone for this is for many different reasons, but one of the things I like here is we're able to apply almost like a low end sidechain. So rather than actually being it's not going to react with the low end. So with this particular instance, I've got the frequency at 100 Hz, and it's just applying some more broad compression over the rest of the track after we've added the EQ and the multiband compressor. It's given it just another level of compression, just to give it that sheen and that body and that weight. And I say it's not going to be triggered by the real low lows. So what have we got here? 2:1 ratio, which is quite soft, relatively fast attack, slow release, which I really like. To me, it tends to sound more natural. I've got the threshold here just brought down to taste. Makeup, literally just a little bit of makeup gain, just to take away some of the gain reduction we're applying. And let's take a listen with the before and after. So the great thing about this plugin is we have this delta button, and this delta button here really kind of allows us to hone in as to what's causing the compressor to react. And if you listen to with the delta, it's more like that snare. It's really kind of poking out, and it's just really kind of reining some of those frequencies in. So let's take another listen with this delta. So it's more like snaring that hi-hat that's really kind of just peaking out and just giving that control. So that's basically it, how I approach this particular song. Nothing too drastic. So a few stages of compression, an EQ stage, there's a multiband compression, but it's just taming the high ends. And this is the thing, is sometimes it's not forcing the processing onto the song. What does the song need? And with this particular track, it was more about just cleaning up certain areas, just giving a little bit of a balance overall. That was it. I was very cautious of not doing too much, because it was a 16-bit file, and there was a lack of headroom, and I didn't really want to start pushing things too much. But I was able to get a good balance with the volume overall. We used a master compressor to kind of give some overall more consistency with the dynamics. We used an EQ just to clean it up a bit and give it a little bit more low end punch. Multiband compression just on the top end, just to tame some of those highs. And we've got into another mastering compressor, just a gentle little bit of gain reduction, just to balance it all after we've applied those other stages. So let's take another listen to this track as a before and after, bypassing all of the plugins. So that's it. That's how I approach this particular track. So it was a really great fun one to do. When you get these tracks that I feel that it was certainly recorded well, performed well, it was mixed well, don't overthink it. Just do what the track needs. A little bit of cleaning, get the volume up a little bit, and just get it to where the song starts to sound really good. And we've done that with 5 simple plugins. Simple as that. So that's it for this week's video, and I hope you found this useful. And I really wanted to highlight this particular song because not only is it a great song that was well recorded and well mixed, it was just very simple and straightforward to master. I think sometimes people seem to think that we have to have 10-12 plugins in the mastering chain to really get that commercial sound, but sometimes it's just not the case. If you've got a really well performed and really well mixed song, sometimes it's just that little enhancement, maybe just a little bit of clean up, just a little bit of, I say, just emphasising certain frequencies. That is it, that is all you need. So just with this particular example, once again, just to reiterate, it's just a limiter, master into the limiter to get some good volume overall. A couple of stages of compression, one more of an overall compression going into an EQ, which is just a clean up EQ with a little bit of a low end boost, and then we went into the multiband compressor, which is just taming some of those high end harshness, then going into a final compressor, just literally 1 dB's worth of compression, gentle compression, just to give it that overall balance. So if you take one thing away from this video, just don't overcomplicate it. Be very intentional with what you want to do, set a clear plan, and just really go with that plan and just do some gentle moves that's going to, really achieve what you want to achieve. So I hope you found this useful, and if you do want to know more about digital mastering, then make sure you hit that subscribe button below, and make sure you tick that bell and select all to receive notifications on all of our videos moving forward. And if you are interested in any mix or mastering critiques, now I'll leave links in the description down below where you can find my mix and master critiquing service through fiverr.com, and I'm very soon to be releasing a further service which is going to be all around one-to-one coaching. I'm really keen to be able to give the maximum benefit to as many people as possible. So if you really feel that like a one-to-one coaching session through Google Meets or something like that would be really beneficial, then stay tuned through fiverr.com, links in the description down below where you can find my services for the one-to-one coaching as well. So all that's left for me to say is I hope you'll keep safe and well, and I'll see you in the next video coming real soon.